So let's talk about these bridges and our foundations. Because the Lord gave me a picture, and I want to tell a little bit of my own story of how I experienced this. Because if you think of a bridge, like this, and you've got these piers or these columns that it's connected to, okay? And then you've got a foundation. Now we are those pillars, okay? We're standing here on a foundation, and then we're connecting to each other in this bridge. Now, what is our foundation? Yes, that's our theological foundation. Like I said earlier, we've got the right foundation theologically. But I want to talk about relationally, and I'm going to say emotionally, internally, how you think and how you're wired. Our foundation should be that I am absolutely secure in the Father's love for me. I'm absolutely secure. I know who I am, I know whose I am, and I am absolutely confident that He's going to finish what He started in me. What He's called me to, no one can stop, because it's Him. That should be my confidence. That should be how I stand. But for me, that's not how I started out in ministry. I did not have that kind of foundation. I shared that I grew up Mennonite for the most part, and as I was growing, it was really an intercession. I never aimed to be prophetic. It was just, I was called to intercession, and out of that, the Lord started giving me words and giving me dreams and pictures. But in that culture and that heritage, being a woman in ministry had a lot of challenges. The first time that I was behind a pulpit, when I was a single adult, I was told I can only share my testimony. I cannot teach, I cannot preach or anything like that. I could only share my testimony. And so that's how I started out. So we had a long history, even Bobby and I, because we honored our heritage, amazing things that we learned and we still value today. But that issue alone, even as a woman, with this growing gift in me of how we walk through that, I felt like I had things to share, but I didn't have anywhere to do it. And there came a point in my own journey where I think it was subconscious, I kind of gave up. The woman thing isn't working. But I knew that there were gifts in me. And so I began to think, well, if they can see the gift in me, then maybe they'll listen. Because I knew there were gifts, and they didn't give the gifts, God did. And so then I was like, do you see the gift in me? So here I was the foundation was, I was very insecure. I really didn't know who I was. I wasn't sure of the Father's love for me. And so my identity became my gift. My gifts. That's what's going to make me strong. That's how I can stand. Well, then the way that I relate is when you validate that. When you agree, when you see that, then, I can trust you. I can build trust with you, and I can build relationship with you because you're validating that, because that's who I am. But you see, what's going to happen is the first time you criticize that gift, or maybe you reject that gift, then that bridge gets cracked, or possibly even broken. And if it's really bad, I'll even burn that bridge, because you didn't see that gift in me. Now maybe you can relate to some of that, because I see a lot of that happening in the church. And we don't realize it because, we know the foundation is Jesus, but we don't realize how we feel emotionally. And it has nothing to do with age or gender, because the enemy will see to it that we are constantly insecure. And we have to recognize that lie. Otherwise, our gift becomes our identity. But see, if we're really secure in the Father's love, and I know who I am, then my identity is not my gift. And the Lord showed me this, and it wasn't too long ago. I was actually talking with my son Nathan about this, because a lot of the message of sonship has been growing in the church in the last number of years. And I had this conversation because in my years growing in the church, especially in the charismatic church, it was all about the gifts. Learning about the spiritual gifts, and I love that. But then all this thing about being a son and a daughter. And I began to think, wait a minute, is that the right order? And the Lord really, and it was one morning, I'll never forget it. Because to me, I've always wanted to have true spiritual authority that's rightly grounded, rightly firm, as an intercessor. And the Lord stopped me and he said, Wanda, the greatest authority that you will ever have is not as a prophet, not as a pastor's wife. You're my daughter. That is the greatest authority you will ever have. You're my daughter. You are his son. I mean, think about it in the monarchy. Kings and queens, okay? If you are a son or a daughter, does it matter your gift mix or if you're even qualified for the job? No. If you are a son or a daughter of the king, you are automatically, you have access. You have authority because you're a son and daughter. The question is, do you see yourself as a son and as a daughter? The gifts are just extra. Because son and daughter, that's eternal. The gifts aren't. When I realized that, I thought, oh Lord, I got to undo years of faulty thinking. I've put my focus in the wrong place. And as I got a hold of that, I realized if I am secure in the Father's love and my identity, I'm a daughter, then I build trust with you because you're my brother and you're my sister, period. You don't have to validate me as a daughter. You don't need to validate me as a daughter. I know I'm his daughter. He already told me. So whether or not you validate my gift, that's irregardless. Because that's not who I am. It's a part of how I express the Lord in my life. It's a part of the ministry and what comes out. But I'm a son and a daughter. That was life-changing for me in my thinking. And I began to think, what if the church, if we really understood this and walked in that, and we are so secure that we can have disagreements with each other, and we are not going to reject and burn bridges because someone does not hold to the same opinion or preference in worship or whatever, because that doesn't validate me or my ministry.